Welcome to episode 2 of the Foster Collection series. Today we'll explore another historical instrument preserved in the Foster collection, the English slide trumpet. Each instrument tells its own story. Some transform musical performance, while others represent fascinating paths in instrument making that have since disappeared from modern life. Today's episode is devoted to one of the very important members of the trumpet family, the English slide trumpet. The instrument featured today is an original example made by Fontaine-Besson, dating from around 1880. It belongs to the final generation of English slide trumpets produced before the instrument disappeared from professional orchestral performance during the closing years of the 19th century. Although the instrument is now unfamiliar to most, the English slide trumpet occupied a unique place in British musical life for well over a century. It was heard in London's great halls, in the orchestras of Covent Garden and Drury Lane, in the military bands, and in the hands of some of Britain's finest trumpet players. Indeed, for much of the 19th century, when audiences in England attended performances, the music of Mendelssohn or countless other composers, the brilliant trumpet sound they heard was often not that of a valve trumpet, but rather the sound of this remarkable instrument. Today we shall explore how it developed, why Britain continued to use it long after the rest of Europe had embraced valve trumpets, and why it remains one of the most important instruments in understanding 19th century British orchestral performance practice. We'll examine some of the earliest surviving slide trumpets. We'll meet the remarkable musicians who championed this instrument, and we'll hear its unique sound. At first glance, people often mistake the English slide trumpet for perhaps a natural trumpet or even some kind of small trombone. The resemblance is understandable, yet this similarity is only superficial. Unlike the trombone, whose long slide provides 7 complete positions and the fully chromatic compass, the English slide trumpet retains the essential characteristics of the natural trumpet. Its bore remains predominantly cylindrical. Its bell is narrow and brilliant in tone. Its playing technique is based upon the harmonic series rather than continuous chromatic movement. Most importantly, the slide travels only a relatively short distance. Typically, this is sufficient to lower the pitch by a semitone or a whole tone. Rather than replacing the natural harmonic series, the slide supplements it, allowing the performer to correct naturally sharp harmonics, improve overall intonation, and obtain certain chromatic notes that are unavailable on a natural trumpet alone. This distinction is fundamental. The English slide trumpet is an instrument in its own right, possessing its own techniques, its own repertoire, and its own performing traditions. Without moving the slide, the instrument acts exactly as a natural trumpet. Notice the familiar and brilliant sound that you would hear on a natural trumpet. And now, by introducing the slide, I can lower selected notes sufficiently to complete passages that would otherwise be unavailable to a natural trumpet. The slide does not fundamentally change the instrument. Instead, it expands the expressive possibilities while preserving the distinctive sound that British audiences had admired for generations. To understand why the English slide trumpet developed, we must first look back at the natural trumpet. For almost 3 centuries, from the late Renaissance until well into the 18th century, the natural trumpet occupied one of the most prestigious positions in European music. Without valves, it could produce mostly only the notes of the harmonic series. In the hands of highly trained clarino players, however, this limitation became an extraordinary artistic advantage. The upper harmonics allowed performers to execute brilliant melodic lines that astonished audiences and inspired composers such as Monteverdi, Purcell, Handel, and of course Johann Sebastian Bach. Yet, by the end of the 18th century, musical taste was changing. Composers increasingly required chromatic writing, richer harmonic language, and greater flexibility from orchestral brass instruments. Instrument makers across Europe experimented with many different solutions. Some developed keyed brass instruments, while others pursued various incarnations of valved instruments. England, however, followed a different path. One of the most fascinating aspects of the English slide trumpet is that it did not emerge as an entirely new invention. The earliest examples were created by modifying existing natural trumpets. Among the most important surviving instruments are the remarkable trumpet by John Harris, dating from 1715. Originally constructed as a natural trumpet, it was later converted into a slide trumpet, almost certainly during the later decades of the 18th century. Equally significant is the celebrated wooden Rodenbostel trumpet, another early instrument demonstrating the same approach to adapting the natural trumpet to the changing musical requirements. These surviving instruments provide invaluable evidence that the English slide trumpet tradition evolved gradually rather than appearing suddenly during the 19th century. Far from being an isolated curiosity, these instruments reveal the beginnings of an unmistakably British solution to the growing chromatic demands placed upon orchestral trumpet players. During the first half of the 19th century, continental Europe increasingly embraced the valve trumpet. In Germany and Austria, rotary valves gained popularity. In France, the piston valve rapidly became established. But in Britain, however, they remained remarkably conservative. Why? The answer lies not in resistance to technology, but in aesthetics. Early valve trumpets altered the character of the instrument. Many English players believe they sacrificed the brilliance, clarity, and noble tone that audiences associated with the traditional trumpet. The slide trumpet, by contrast, preserved the familiar sound while providing just enough chromatic flexibility to satisfy contemporary orchestral repertoire. This preference became so deeply established that English orchestras continued employing slide trumpeters for decades after valve instruments had become commonplace elsewhere in Europe. It wasn't just a simple matter of tradition, it reflected a conscious artistic choice about the sound of the orchestra. In the next part, we'll meet the man who, more than anyone else, shaped the traditions of English slide trumpet playing. Thomas Harper, together with his son Thomas Harper Jr., their teachings, their performances, their publications would define trumpet playing throughout the 19th century in Britain, leaving a legacy that continues to influence historical performance today. If you've enjoyed this episode, please remember to give it a like or share with your friends, or maybe even write in the comments. Thank you so much.